I want to start off by saying that I was only 21 when this happened. At the time I was working meeting tons of new people. In other words, I was a bit of a loner, spending my weekends at home watching movies and playing games. Let's just say I was stuck in the daily grind of going to work, coming home, drinking beers and watching TV. I would find myself in a boozy enough state to slowly crawl off to bed and pass out almost every single night. Let me explain my experience on the dark web, since it's quite different than the other stories I've found out there. I remember the first time I heard of the deep web. I was in high school. I think I was around 15 or something. One of the kids in my class was explaining it to one of his friends, so I guess I must have eavesdropped on their conversation. Looking back on what he said, it wasn't very right, but it still sounded cool enough for me to go and look into it. I did what most of you have probably done, listened to a bunch of stories, talked about it with your friends, and all sorts of stuff like that. I was always really curious about what lurked behind that part of the cyber world. That brings us up to speed. One night I was hanging out with one of my close friends, drinking beers and playing video games. Like I said, I don't really do much else in my free time. We were playing games and laughing about stuff. I don't remember who brought it up, but one of us at some point said something about the deep web. I think I asked my friend if he had ever ended up going on it. He kept laughing, but half seriously said, yeah, a few times, but that place creeps me out. We kept talking about all the crazy things that get found on there. So after combining almost a case of beer, two 21-year-old Dumb and Dumbers, and no one else watching us, the bright idea of getting my own laptop and searching how-to videos on getting set up with Tor came to our minds. 5 minutes later, and I had installed a VPN, Tor, and another program that was widely known to make your footsteps harder to track. I can still remember the feeling now when I first clicked on that Tor icon. The best way I can describe it is similar to the feeling of taking off in an airplane. You feel nervous, but you keep telling yourself that if millions of people do it, then nothing bad happens, then why would anything happen to you? I sat there as the screen showed the homepage of Tor. Now, as I said, almost all of the knowledge I had about the deep web was from random videos online, so nothing super official. I ended up searching the Hidden Wiki as my first website to browse. It was commonly mentioned in a lot of the videos I watched, so I wanted to check it out in real life. After clicking the link, I was surprised to only be shown a page of other links, all colored in red and yellow texts. I asked my friend which color we should pick. He said to make it creepy, why don't we flip a coin to decide? He grabbed a coin and sat back down. I called that if it was heads, we clicked yellow, and tails, we would click a red one. He giggled as he flicked the coin in the air. The coin landed, and he did that move where people flip their hand over the other, so it flips the coin one more time before revealing it. We laughed as he opened up his hand showing tails. A Ridlink it is. They were all written in crazy letters and numbers, but after a bit of scrolling I picked one of them. It loaded a website that looked similar to Reddit. A bunch of posts with comments on them, but off to the side it had another link on the side that said forum sections. I clicked it and it brought up a list of different topics that the forums were about. The thing that struck me as odd was that they had weird names, like as if they were coded names that only the regulars would understand. One of them was called Beta Chat. Another one was called Candyland. My friend said we should click the Beta Chat one. We opened it up and the screen loaded a bunch of people's usernames and a message board at the bottom where people were posting chats. After a few seconds, we realized it was a chat for people into coding and programming. It looked and sounded really boring, so we drunkenly typed boring in the chat. A few of the usernames laughed, and the others just continued chatting. We ended up getting a message that was delivered directly to us from another user in the group. His username was Awake16. He typed a message to us saying he hadn't seen us around before and asked if we were new to the forum. We then made one of the biggest mistakes you could ever make. We told him it was our first time on the deep web and that we barely knew what we were doing. He didn't respond right away, but instantly after sending the message, we looked at each other, realizing that we probably shouldn't be telling someone on a forum full of coders and probably really skilled hackers that it was our first time on the deep web. We started thinking that maybe we should just delete all of the programs off my laptop and just go back to watching TV since we were getting a bit nervous. A message then popped up from Awake16. He told us that he knows the deep web really well and he can help guide us while we were still learning how it all works. I felt a little relieved since the person chatting to us didn't seem like he had any bad intentions. The problem was that me and my friend both had bad feelings already, and we really just wanted to end the chat and delete it all. I typed in the chat I didn't think we would be coming on here too often, and that we were mainly just curious to see what the deep web looked like. He didn't respond straight away. We sat there quietly waiting, and then another message popped up. He told us to click a link that he sent us and said that he would introduce us to some of his other friends in another forum. We stupidly clicked the link, and the screen brought up a similar page to the last one with a bunch of different users in a community-style chat room. We realized almost straight away that we had just made a big mistake. The users typing in the chat room were real hackers, probably criminals. They were posting stuff about people they had hacked and a lot of stuff to do with scamming and bitcoins. We both agreed that this was not a place where we should be. I went to close the site and shut down my computer, but then I realized I didn't have control of my mouse. The pointer was moving around, but it wasn't from me. We didn't know what to do, so we just sat there and typed into the chat, "Are you controlling our mouse?" He didn't respond. Instead, he opened up a Word document on my laptop and typed into it, "Yes," followed by a smiley face. I held down the power button on my laptop until the screen turned black. I still remember right before the screen turned off, he typed on the screen, "I'll see you soon." We thought it was all over when the screen turned off. We put the laptop down and went to go back to our night. I went over to check my phone since I hadn't checked it in a while, and I could see it was lit up by a notification. It was a text message from a blank number. There was a message there, but no contact, no number or no phone number at all. I'd never seen that before, but all I remember was a text message saying, "Don't ever come back to the site."